Hello everybody, welcome to Gradeup. We're going to look at how to score a 99 plus, push your score towards the 100 percentile in VARC today. We're going to talk of strategies, we're going to talk of what are the important types of questions you can expect on November 29th. Alright, I'm Savitri Krishnamurty. I'm a VARC and communication skills trainer. I'm a mentor at Gradeup with more than 25 years of experience in aptitude test training. I hope I can help you with my experience to do better in CAT, to do your best in CAT. As you know, at Gradeup, we've been putting together a final revision series in all the sections, Quant, LRDI and VARC, and you can see our revision series playlist every day at 5:30, 7 and 9 p.m. Just subscribe to our channel and stay tuned to Gradeup so that you can see all these sessions and not miss any of them. On November 29th, you know that CAT will happen on 3 shifts. After each shift, immediately after the shift, the first shift is from 8:30 to 10:30. So at 10:45, Gradeup will be ready with its analysis of the first shift. At 2:45, it will be ready with its analysis of the second shift, and in the third shift, an analysis of the last shift. Come overall our views on all the entire CAT 2020 pattern and questions and expected cutoffs. We will give you our estimate. Hello Ayush. So subscribe to our channel, stay tuned to Gradeup, and do not miss our analysis. If you are in one of the later shifts, then at least you can see what kind of questions, at least the number of questions you will know in the earlier shifts. And if you are in an earlier shift, you can at least find out how you have done in the exam. But whether you are in the earlier one or in the latter part of the day, do not panic when you see somebody is done with the exam. All right. Rishi Singh has a question saying that if I go from parajumbles and summaries and odd one out and then do my RCs, will it work? Why not? Try it out in the mocks and see, Rishi. But generally we tell you that it depends on your strengths and depends on your accuracy, right? If you are good at it, and I prefer to do my parajumbles when I'm in a calm state of mind. So I am good at RC. I know my strength is RC. So what I do is I do it I finish my odd one out parajumbles and para summaries in the middle of the test when I want a break from the RCs. Try out the order, Rishi, in a mock test and see if you are getting higher marks. The only advice would be if you are left in the last, remember the theta questions have no minus marking. And in the last 5 minutes of the test, even if you start an RC, your accuracy will be low. So weigh that when you do it. If you're not starting an RC and you're sure of doing it in good time, then it's fine. Attempts, order of attempts, do it on the basis of degree of difficulty, how easy is a question, how tough is a question, and also on your strengths. What are you good at? That's important. What are you most comfortable with? All right. Thank you, Shubham. All right. Hello, Sai Harish. So, as you know, the trait, what are they actually testing is your critical reading skills, not just literal reading when you read a word for what it is. They're looking at, are you able to read a passage analytically? Can you figure out the author's main point, what the author has intended, what is the author's tone? So you need to remember that is what is being tested, and that is what you need to concentrate on, and that will happen if you stay calm and read properly. So the repeated questions that you keep asking, you means your friends, can I read the questions first and then read the passage? It doesn't help me if I do that. The author would agree with everything except if you read that question, how is it going to help you understand the passage better? The author's attitude in the second paragraph towards President Trump's strategy during the elections can be described as, without reading the passage, how will you figure that out? So I would think that reading and the way you read is important, but don't change anything in the last minute. If you are the type who's always felt very comfortable reading the questions first and then reading the RC passage, please go ahead and do it. If it works for you, there's no reason why it shouldn't help you in CAT. Do not change. You're not going to increase your speed suddenly overnight in the next 1 week. So right now you have to just concentrate on the 3 types of questions you will be asked. We are assuming the pattern remains the same: reading comprehension, jumbled paragraphs and summaries. And you have to look at what can I do in these 3 sections to maximize my scores. Rishi asked, can I do the jumbled paragraphs and summaries first? If that works for you, yes. How do I know if it works for me? By figuring out in the mock. So in the next 3-4 days, attempt section test, attempt CAT, entire question papers, keeping that order in mind, and see if it works for you. Same thing, if you want to do 2 RCs, then do VA, then do the last RC, do it, but don't do anything new in the last 5-4 minutes, reading comprehension especially. But let's say there's a question that you left out for review and you're not sure of that question, you can always go back to it in the last 5 minutes, look at that 1 paragraph, read it, and then get the answer. So that entirely depends on you and what you do, right? I would want you to, this is what I would do in the last week, in the final week, in the final hurdle before CAT, is read and concentrate on the text. Make sure I learn to focus on what I am reading. If you are bothered about VARC and you say, nee, VARC is my weak point, I need to somehow improve in the last few days with whatever is left, time is left, take a timed sectional test. Take the entire VARC section in 40 minutes. Either 20 or 25 questions are what we are expecting. I honestly don't think they can give you 34 questions and expect you to do it in 40 minutes. So either 20 questions or 25 minutes. So all our mocks have been designed that way. We've kept some as 34 questions because we just said, let's give the student a feel of what it would be, one of those crazy 12 runs, 14 runs and over needed T20 match. I don't think CAT is going to do that. So you either look at 20 questions in 40 minutes or 25 questions in 40 minutes and try to solve it. And see how you're doing. See which order is working. Let's say today you've done, Rishi for example asked, can I do the VA section first and then do the RC section? If it works for you today, try it next time. If it doesn't work for you, try the other order. But by now you should have firmed up your strategy. Literally, like you say, okay, CAT's going to happen, I'm going to do the quant section first, then I'll do the verbal section. Verbal mein RC pehle karunga. First RC, if I find it tough, I'm going to do my second RC. You have to have a plan and go in. If the actual question paper is very different from the plan, then you improvise that day. But right now, I think you should be taking a timed sectional test if you want to focus only on RC, VARC, and fix a strategy by taking mocks and taking past year papers. So 2017, 18, 19 papers, even if you've done it before, both slots would give you 6 papers to try out from, right? Morning, evening, morning, evening, morning, evening. I mean slot 1, slot 2. So you have enough, and then if that is not there, go back to past papers as in 2005, 6, 7 and 8. 8 was the best. I've given you today passages from 8. I've also taken a few from 2018 because I want all of you to work out 2019 in a timed manner. All right. Leave out one passage that you know very well. Bahut baar kar liya hai Aladdin passage. I will not do it. All right. Yes. So make sure your strategy is firmed up, and each person is different. So your order of attempts should be such that you score maximum, and that order of attempts is depends. It varies from individual to individual. Should I do VA first? Should I do RC first? Whatever you are doing, remember the last 5 minutes make sure all your TETA questions, type in the answer questions. If they are, I assume they'll include some type in the answer questions. Last 5 minutes, because it doesn't really matter if you get it wrong. There's no minus marking for that. But make sure every TETA question is answered, because there is no negative marking. You would be a fool not to answer it. So leave your last 5 minutes for those questions. Apart, let's say in your odd one, or you've got 5 parajumbles, 3 long ones, 2 odd one out, 2 odd one out kar diya. In these parajumbles, 2 parajumbles were easy, 1 was tough. Leave this, but in the last minute, 2, 1, 4, 5, whatever, make sure you attempt it. All right. How many RCs, Lalit, again is up to you. Okay. How many questions should I answer depends on the degree of difficulty of the questions, depends on the degree of difficulty of the passage. My advice to all students is your accuracy isn't going to improve, so you need to push in as many attempts as possible. Only thing is, do not guess wildly. The only wild guessing that I would advise is for the TETA questions if you don't have time. So 40 minutes, how many questions can you attempt accurately? That is what you need to look at. Accuracy is really important. All right. That it depends on how you read the passage. The accuracy, the constancy will come with practice and with we don't expect 34 questions, Pradyumna. 34 questions in 40 minutes is, I don't think CAT has ever put that kind of a time limit on the students, that kind of a race. And it's not a speed game. The last so many years, it has stopped being a speed game. At one point it was, where you had so many questions and hardly 45 seconds to a minute per question. They cannot give it to you like that. I think they were not ready with their sample paper, which is why when they just gave some past paper and said the questions will be like this. So there's very little chance that they'd give you 34 questions and ask you to do it in 40 minutes. Definitely the number of questions will be reduced. If they give you 34, in the very unlikely event of them giving you 34 questions, the questions would be very easy. Maybe they'd include a lot of vocabulary questions. Maybe they'd include a lot of grammar questions. But frankly, I don't see that happening. So we at Gradeup predict 20 or 25 questions per section. So you'll have either 60 questions in 120 minutes, or you will have 75 questions at most. All right. So the thumb rule is 80% with 80% questions with 80% accuracy. But like I said, as many accurately as you can. So the point here is concentration, because if you panic, you cannot read. You have to stay calm and totally concentrate on what you are reading. Simplify the passage to yourselves as much as possible so you understand the main point. Read the question, read the options quickly, go back to the part of the passage, and here the passage will be sitting right on your left of the question, so you can always refer to the passage. Let's say you think the answer is in this half of the passage, read it and then attempt the answer. Yes, you can improve your accuracy even at this point, Nikhil. Solve a couple of past year question papers in a timed manner, but do not try to do it faster than your comfort level at this point. Whatever is your highest speed for reading, do not try to go beyond that, because what will happen is your accuracy will take a beating. So what you need to do is, whatever questions you are managing to answer, just make sure you don't make those silly mistakes. I did not read the except part. The passage, the author would have given the answer at 2 points and you look only at the first part. You remember reading something about it in the second part. If you are in a hurry to not read the second part, you will make a mistake. All I am trying to tell you is, you should spend more time in eliminating options. And the 2 close options question, I never believed in the close option theory, Pradyumna. I believe there are 3 wrong options and 1 correct option. So assume 2 are easily eliminated and you are left with C and D. Now, if it's a main point question, then read C and read D and see which one is the closest to the main point that you think is correct. If there is a word in C that makes you uncomfortable, ask yourself, can that word be the wrong one in being out of scope of the passage, or is it a little too extreme in terms of what the author has said, or does it in some way misrepresent what has been said in the passage? Then that cannot be. So the main point of the passage should tell you the story of the passage. It should not be too broad on talking only about the subject and not on the main points of the passage. It should not be too narrow in telling you only about a part of the passage and not the rest. It shouldn't have words which are not been mentioned in the passage. So it should tell you the story of the passage as it is given. So that is what you need to know. Keshav, if you have downloaded our app, today I am going to do an analysis of VARC mock 3. If that is the mock, then we can analyze. I am of course doing only half of it. If you get 3 right, so you can see the analysis that we are doing, and we'll see how many mistakes you made and why you made it. 3 out of 5 in passages is good, provided you are also are getting the parajumbles and the summaries correct, Ayush. So if you are getting 3 correct, 3 out of 5 passages in and with maximum accuracy, you can try one more. We will work it out now, Priya, and we'll do the parajumble questions. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. 19 correct, 1 negative is good. All right. So shall we start our attempts now, or you have some more questions which we go? Parajumbles is to read the jumbled sequence as it is given to you, Priya, as it is given to you. And as you read, try to identify a starting sentence. All right. Or, and, I mean, as you are reading, you will say, oh, I know that A and B definitely have to go together. A comes first, B comes second. C and D both look like starting sentences. Then you say, then you try to put the sentences in the order and you say C, A, B, D is better. D sounds like a very good ending sentence. So I think C, A, B, D is the order I'll stick to. If you have the time, you can quickly read the sentences in that order and cross-check if it sounds right or not. Not necessarily, Ayush. There is no such rule that you should start only with a past event or a current event. Parajumbles can be on an event. Parajumbles can be on a person's opinion about a particular policy, about a particular machine. It can be anything. So there is no rule that the starting should introduce it should be, it's called a general introduction to the topic, something which can act on its own. It's called a standalone statement. Something that introduces the entire topic would be a good starting for the passage. So we will take one example of a parajumble and try it out. Okay. Last sentence problem means the para completion. As of now, today's class, I have only included parajumbles, a summary and a passage. Dhana, I have chosen a passage which has tone today so that I can explain it to you. All right. Victor, you are asking a very something for which I don't have an answer. It depends on each person. What should be the order of attempt of the questions and the number of questions? At least 80% of the questions with 80% accuracy would be a good start. The order is entirely up to you, but I generally tell the students start with the easiest passages and the easiest questions and a question that you're most comfortable with. So let's say you read the first RC and you find it really tough in the first 30-40 seconds when you're just skimming through the passage and you say, this sounds very tough, kuch philosophy hai, I'm not very comfortable with it. It tells you directions from questions 1 to 5, then immediately go to question 6 so that you start with an easy passage, right? That's okay as long as you know the tone words. Harish wants to know, like, I know tone words, but I'm not very good with vocabulary. If you know the tone words and the synonyms of those tones, then you're fine. That's the only vocabulary that I would ask you to do it. Ayush, I think that's a good number, but like I said, In the exam, don't count that in, try to maximize your attempts. But that looks like a good. So we would say in a 34 question paper, we would say 24 to 25 or 25, 26 correct attempts will put you in the 99 plus slot. That's how you look at it. That correct turning out to be wrong is because you're not understanding the question. I do not think that would really be the issue, right? Okay, shall we start with parajumbles and summary, or shall we start with the passage which has a tone question in it and other things? Shall we start with a passage itself? Parajumble. That again depends on you, Manan. Whether parajumbles should be my first target in the first 10 minutes or not is entirely up to you. No, not as I wish. It should be the order of attempts. Okay, passages you can do, see, because accuracy in non-option parajumbles, without option, your accuracy is very low. Odd one out parajumbles and summaries, your accuracy is pretty high from what I have seen in your performance in the mocks. So I would still say that the odd one out parajumbles without option, put it at the end, because your accuracy anyway takes a hit. Do the others. All right. Just focus, have faith in yourself. I'm sure you'll do well. Anushka. I will do the different tones quickly now. All right. Who's this? Marlin. Don't worry. Right now, if you're slightly below the cutoffs, it's okay. On the day of the exam, you should be able to just answer the last 3 years question papers. All right. 17, 18 and 19 attempted. The Aladdin passage that many of you found tough, which I'm going to do for the revision class tomorrow. The complete revision class. All right. Okay. Shall we start? Okay, I'm giving you 30 seconds per slide, which may be more for some and less for some, and then we'll answer the questions and then only I'll discuss it. Next slide. Don't panic if you cannot read the whole thing in the time given. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. I've put fewer sentences in each slide, so it seems to be going on forever. I'll answer your questions once the passage is done. Next slide. Next slide. I will answer all your questions. Ignore. If a word is difficult, just read it, guess the meaning as it is used. I'll answer all your questions at the end of this passage. Okay, I will answer your questions. Somebody asked me, what should I do first, RC or VA? Now the VA in the new CAT is Parajumbles, odd one out and summary. And it is there in the middle between passages or at the end. If you are getting a lot of accurate answers, if you're good at Parajumbles, odd one out and summary, and you're confident of it, if that's your strength, you can do VA first. I personally would prefer to do RC first and the easiest RC first. How do I know which is the easiest RC? I quickly skim through the first passage. If I find it difficult, I go to the next one. But in the next 3-4 days, what should I do? Somebody was asking. This is the time when you decide which one works best for you, when you're working out past year question papers or when you're doing any kind of sectional mock tests. Okay. Sarthak asked me that I get 90% accuracy sometimes and sometimes it goes down to 50%. What did you do when you got that 90% accuracy is something you should repeat, Sarthak. Maybe you concentrated on that day and the other day you got a little distracted, or maybe you answered the questions a little in a hurry. So 20 out of 24 questions, is it good? Or 20 out of 25? Of course, it's a fantastic score. All right. So you should, if you are doing it, just in the mocks would be a little difficult than the actual CAT. We give you more difficult mocks. So just remember, it's like a T20 match. You're doing well, you're not getting very low scores. A low score here and there once in a while is not an indication of your merit. So you just go to the exam saying, I will get a 99 plus this time, I will get as many in as possible. You will do it. That's what I said, Marlene. So what area were you making the mistakes in RC? Do that in a timed manner. But I keep telling this to all the students. I've had students who have not cleared the cutoff till the last of the mocks and have made it in CAT. And if the passage is difficult, if the passages are difficult, if the paper is difficult, the cutoff will be lower generally, right? That is the main thing. All right. So you've read the passage. Now the key here, did I read it properly, is to ask yourself, what was the subject of the passage? Something to do with ice creams. But is it about ice cream? He moves on from ice cream to commenting on the commercialization of society, on how materialistic it has become and certain parts of it. It starts by talking about ice creams of 2 different sizes, and it ends by talking about morality of the present times as opposed to morality of the past times, right? So somebody said, yes, the vocabulary was difficult. You know, this passage was considered one of the easiest in 2008 and people still made mistakes. It has a question of every kind, which is why I have selected it. 2008, there used to be 5 passages per question, 5 options per question. Just see. Which of the following cannot be inferred? No, the accuracy doesn't have to. Marlene, I would just take a few more mocks and past year papers, and don't worry about how you're going to do in the exam. I'm sure you'll do very well. Victor, accuracy does not depend on your acquaintance with the subject. Accuracy depends on your confidence and on your focus on that particular day. If you sit and you focus on what you are reading, not the better, because your previous knowledge of the topic actually might interfere with it. All right, how well you read is the key, and how well you read depends on how much you can simplify the passage to your own, how much you can simplify it so that you can answer the question, and also how well you understand the question. Question is, which of the following cannot be inferred? Now, quickly look at the options, and without going to the passage, there are quite a lot that the author has suggested. I will also take you back to the passage, but on the face of it, has he mentioned that today's society is more extravagant than the society of the 1930s, that we spend more towards the end? Has he done it or not? Yes, mock test and past papers is more than enough for these days. I told you 2 to 3 mocks, not more. He has mentioned this. Last paragraph, does everybody agree? Option 1 has been given. Do you need to go back to the passage and cross check? You don't have to. The act of eating ice cream is akin to a ceremonial process. Ceremonial is, he says, it was like a liturgy. A liturgy is the ceremonial process. Okay, now you didn't know the meaning of liturgy. Now let's just go back to where he talks about it. Okay, this liturgy seemed to me so sumptuously enviable that I wanted to do it. I wanted to celebrate it. So therefore, using these two, you say celebrate festival, maybe liturgy has something to do with joy and celebration. That much is enough. Okay, now keep that aside. You don't know the meaning of liturgy, so you keep this second one aside. Elders rightly suggested that the boy turning eyes from one side to the other was more likely to fall. This also requires your understanding of vocabulary He says, I thought that the reason they gave was mendacious. When he asked, can I have two 2-cent ice creams instead of one 4-cent ice cream, his granny said no. And when he asked, they said, no, look, if you have 2 ice creams and you keep moving your head between one and the other, you will fall down. He says that was the mendacious reason they gave us. Mendacious means lying. Assume you don't know. Okay. That's a very common cat word, by the way. Then this is exactly correct. He says it tells you buy one, get one free, but you are actually getting what you paid for. He has mentioned it. So everything depends on your how thoroughly you read the passage the first time. Can you go back and cross check it? All right, we can go back each, because in the exam you can cross check the passage just by glancing to the left of your screen. Okay, and this is also correct. Today's consumer society attempts to lure adult and child both. So between 2 and 3, he says, this sumptuous liturgy, I wanted to celebrate it. Okay, but the elders' mendacious suggestion was, and later he knew that their reason was something more pedagogical, something different. And he somehow, as an adult, says that he realized why his parents and his grandparents didn't let him eat the 2-cent ice creams. So between 2 and 3, you can say, since they told you the reason was something different, and the author also guessed that it was something different, so it has to be this. Mendacious means lying. So he knew that the justification they gave was a lie, not the truth. Understood? So that is how you eliminate answers. Now when you go back, you will see all the things that I told you given there. One where he said that you buy you throw away the old transistor to purchase the new one that boasts an alarm clock as well. But for some inexplicable, something that can't be explained, the mechanism will guarantee that the radio lasts only 1 year. So you don't get anything extra, you get what you paid for. Yes, correct. Next, here, somewhere he says, here, today's citizen and victim of a consumer society, no, not here, before this. The pathetic and obviously mendacious justification. The fact that he calls it pathetic, you know that the ridiculous one. So obviously the answer would be, where did it go? 3. Got it? All right. Now the next question. Who does little parvenus stand for? If it has 5 questions, Sarthak, no passage will take you more than 5 minutes to read. I mean, the longest passage, 2019, if you really read it, the first reading should be the thorough and the best reading. After that, you're only cross-checking the answers. And 2019, the toughest passage that we asked our students to read later didn't take more than 5 minutes. So assume you take even 6 minutes and you have 5 questions. You cannot take more than 10 to 12 minutes per passage. And this is stretching it to 5 questions, 1 minute per question, though generally students take way less than that. If you're taking less than that, make sure you eliminate all options. Don't mark the very first option you see as the correct option. So what did the little parvenu stand for? Those little children who asked for 2 2-cent ice creams and got it. The author didn't get. So if you really had to summarize the passage, would you do it with me, where he talked of when he was a child, he used to get 2 2-cent ice creams or 1 4-cent ice cream. He wanted to eat 2 2-cent ice creams, hold it with both hands, because he thought you're solving the same amount, you're spending the same amount of money. His parents didn't buy it. His elders didn't buy it for him. but there were some other children whose parents bought it for him, and therefore he called those kids little parvenus. Okay, that means they were as young as him, but doesn't mean they are midgets. So this is out. They cannot be old hags. Youngsters cannot be arrogant people. So when you are eliminating options, either you will say foolish kids or young upstarts. Now they were not foolish, they were getting both their ice creams, right? Then this one. Philosophical passages are something that you should do last if you find it very tough. And the best way to tackle philosophical passages is to read the passage, simplify whatever you understand in your own words. What you don't understand, just keep reading. If there is a question about that part, then only go back to that part and try to understand it. So the hardest passage that you do, you should do it last. Easiest passages first. That is always the order of attempts. Understood? All right. Here I am going to take you back to the passage after you see all the options. Why did the author want 2 2-cent cones instead of 1 4-cent pie? दोनों के लिए you are spending 4 cents. He wanted 2 smaller ice creams of 2 2 cents rather than 1 big one for 4 cents. He is asking why did he do it? 5 options have been given. Now Cat gives you 4 options. Quickly read it. I'll take you back to the passage. So you tell me after that whether you were right or wrong. It made dietetic sense. It suggested intemperance. It was more fun. It had a visual appeal. He was a glutton. All right. Now, Manan says it's 4. 4 is the most common answer in 2008, which is way when you all were probably in nursery. People answered this. But this is the wrong answer. Let's go back to find out why. Cat question setter won't give you such easy things, right? The passage is about ice cream, but it was not an ice cream. First 2 paragraphs, literally you don't, first 3 paragraphs are nothing but describing the ice cream. इसको फिर पढ़ने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. From here the actual passage begins. That some children got 2, they managed to eat. Dietetic, good for some dietary reason, related to diet, related to what is good for diet. Alright, he said he wanted it. He wanted 2 2-cent ice creams. His parents said no. Alright, okay, fine. Next paragraph, he says neither mathematics nor economy nor dietetics. So it was not for a dietetic reason that he wanted it, nor his parents refused it. It was not for mathematical reasons he wanted it, nor his parents refused it. Nor was it because of hygiene. They told him no, saying that you will stumble over the pavement, you will fall down. But the author realized that there was another secret justification. He didn't know why. Right? Next passage. He says, now I understand why they wanted it. Why? Because 2 2-cent cones did not signify squandering, but economically speaking it was not, but symbolically it did. Why have 2 of something when you can have 1? Alright, then it was here. This is the answer to the question. It was for this precise reason that I yearned for them, because 2 2-cent ice creams suggested excess. Why did the author yearn for 2 2-cent ice cream? The other word for yearn is pine, long for it, wanted badly. Why did he want it? Because it suggested excess. It was not excess actually. You spent the same amount of money. You are getting the same amount of ice cream. Both in terms of diet, good for your stomach or not, economy, everything is the same. But it suggested excess and therefore he wanted it. And that is the same reason why his parents refused it. So why did the author want? Not because of the visual appeal. Yes, the visual appeal was there. But why did he want it? He wanted it because it suggested excess. The other word for excess is intemperance. temperance is something in moderation. And excess means, oh, instead of having one ice cream, I'm having 2 ice creams. So that is the intemperance part of it. Got it? Everyone, almost everyone who took this test in that particular year got this wrong. And any number of times I give students, this is the reason they go and it was more fun, some people mark. No, he said it was for this exact reason I wanted it, and it was for this exact reason that it was denied to me. Got it? All right. Now, one common question they ask you is this. Even in the Aladdin question in 2018, I think I've given it tomorrow, so let me not give the game away. They'll normally give you a phrase from the passage. You are supposed to know it. If you don't know words like intemperance, pata to hai na, tempered down means basically calm down. So see, that is why when at the beginning of 2020, when you all were preparing, I kept telling you that vocabulary will help reading comprehension, because sometimes they give you the exact word as it's used in the passage, but more often than not they give you the synonym of the word. So knowing that would help. Because it's suggested, and other answers you can eliminate, but it just takes longer, right? Okay, the moralist seems at odd with morality. What do you think it means? Now, whenever they ask you something related to a phrase, always go back to the part where the author means it. All right. The beginning, he said that in my time only spoiled children were given 2 cones, not normal children. If I wanted something, it suggested that it was an excess, so they left it, but only those children were spoiled. All others behaved because it was considered wrong. Nowadays, the moralist seems at odd with morality. Why? Because in our world, everyone wants to be spoiled. In those days, it was only a few kids who were spoiled. But in what context did he say this? He said that we have come to a consumer civilization. Everyone wants to be spoiled, even adults, and they always want promises of something more. Buy a wristwatch, get a detergent, get a bangle with a magazine. They always want more, and therefore the moralist, earlier what was considered wrong is not considered wrong anymore. That's what he says. And then the beginning and the end, he says the morality of the old days made Spartans of all of us. Spartans means the Spartans lived a way of life which was simple, a life based on denial. We don't do with the minimum necessities of life, don't spend, no excesses. But today the world wants us to be cyberites or pleasure seekers. So therefore, why is the moralist at odds with morality? Earlier, what was meant for only the spoiled children, now everybody is spoiled in wanting more. So that means, which is the correct answer? The moralist of yesterday hasn't become immoral today. The moralist of yesterday are the grandparents who didn't give you excess. What was considered immoral or not correct in the past is accepted now. So ये तो उल्टा बोल दिया है. Earlier excess was seen as bad, now everyone is being pampered with excess. But that doesn't mean who was moral yesterday has become immoral today. It means that what was considered immoral or moral has changed. So the concept of morality has changed. Amoral means having no more. You don't consider anything good or bad. You're not against it, you're not for it, you're objective, you don't have any morals. So answer for 4 is 2. What is moral has become difficult to. Spoiled children only had 2 cent ice creams. Nowadays everybody seems to be having it. So what was considered excess has become the rule now. So the very idea of what is moral, what is excess, everything has changed in a consumer world. All right, last one. Why do you think the author was not what was the reason, what the justification for refusing to let him eat 2 cones? He said, I thought that the reason was pedagogical. Pedagogy means method of teaching. Okay. Which word in this has something related to teaching? Didactic. Didactic means intending to teach. That means he thought the elders did not buy him 2 2-cent ice creams because it symbolically suggested excess, suggested indecency. Here people can't afford even 1 ice cream and this boy is eating 2. They were willing to spend 1 big one, but not 2 small ones. Therefore 1 is the answer. Intending to teach him a lesson. When you can do with 1 ice cream, eat 1. Why eat 2? Why show off that you have so much money? That's the answer. Got it? None of the other words. This means argumentative. It's a method of argumentation. So you can take this to be argumentative, but none of the other words are anyway words which indicate tone or in anything. They're not even relevant to the text. Got it? So the key here is the passage looks easy. It's all about ice cream, but the questions and when it's a narrative which goes into a kind of commentary, a little bit of philosophizing on what happened, the vocabulary would be a little difficult. So at this point, when you look at a passage and it looks easy, in this you could have answered 3 out of 5 questions correctly. Systolic, diastolic, it has to do with blood pressure reading. That's what I said. These have nothing to do with dietetic, means to dealing with diet, what is good for health and all. Diastolic is a term for blood pressure, like systolic and diastolic. Diastolic, I think, is the expansion of blood, the pressure of the blood when the vessels expand. Systolic is when the vessels contract. So it's a medical term, nothing to do with. Diatonic has to do with sound, nothing to do with tone. So the only word which confused people was 1 and 3. Dialectic is a form of argumentation. So that's an argumentative method. Got it? So when you read this passage, the key is how well did you read the passage, and if you go back to the passage and confirm, it is good. But at the same time, a little bit of vocabulary will help you. As you realize, were the vocabulary questions in 2019 and 18. The vocabulary related to passages. That's it. They don't ask you anything which is not related to the passages. Alright. Now, when you do parajumble, somebody was asking me how should I attempt it. So the next one is a parajumble. Read the jumbled up sequence. Read the sentences in the jumbled up sequence thoroughly. Don't miss a single word there, because it is, I actually tell the students to read it, articulate it to yourself so you get the exact tone. It's, for example, I'd say, it is for this reason that it is for this reason. He said that 2 2-cent ice creams did not suggest excess economically, but it did symbolically. It is for this reason that I earned it, and it is for this reason that the adult said no. Now, similarly, when you read it in a passage, in a parajumble, you need to connect. It is for this reason, acha. Then next will come the reason. If you can read like that, then you can link words used in the sentences and your parajumbles will be correct. Don't spend more than 1.5 to 2 minutes per parajumble, because some of you are very good at it and it becomes a matter of ego. Ye hoga humse. That is what happens in LRDI also. I tell my students, if you're stuck in a set, don't spend too much time on it. Nahi, itna time to spend kar liya, I'll spend 10 more minutes on it, then you're done for. So the same thing with parajumbles. It's 90%. If there are no options, if it's a non-MCQ question, then it will not be a TETA question, in which case 1.5 minutes to get it right, it will be a huge boost towards that 100% time. Alright, so will you start now? I will start timing you. This is 30 seconds. Don't worry, I'll move it 3 times for you, or I'll time you separately. Start. 1 minute done. All right. Abhinav, Dhruv got it right. Sai Harish, one link is not correct. The starting link is correct. Is it BDCA or is it BDAC? B democracy. So now read it the order in which it is given, right? But now we have another group, the unwitting enablers. Democracy and high levels of inequality of the kind that have come to characterize the United States are simply incompatible. Good starting sequence. When you are doing parajumbles, keep that pen and paper with you. Keep the scratch pad with you. Believing these people are working for a better world, they are actually at most chipping away at the margins. So, A, could it be we are talking of these people? Could we talk of the unwitting assembler? Is C talking about that? Very rich people will use money to maintain. Okay. Democracy and levels of inequality are incompatible. Why? Very rich people will always use their money to maintain their political and economic power. Then, but now we have another group, the unwitting enablers, who are helping this to happen. What are they doing? How are they enabling it? Believing these people are working for a better world, they are actually chipping away at the margins, making slight corrections, ensuring that the system goes on as usual, uninterrupted. Alright, this was not my question. CAT 2018, slot 1. Read and then you can connect. First one, but now we have another group. Another group to what? Democracy and high levels of inequality that have come to characterize the United States are simply incompatible. Democracy does not go with inequality. Okay, they are not incompatible. Very rich people are simply incompatible. Why? Or why is that happening? Because very rich people always use money to maintain their political and economic power. And now, along with these rich people, you have a set of people who are enabling them. They think that these people are working for the good of the community, so they are kind of helping them to let this unequal system continue. So, when you understand what the sentences stand for, in that 1 minute that you are reading it, you will get the order. Right? Okay. Next one. I have a class at 7 also. Alright. The next one is a summaries question. Now, in summary, what should you do? Read what is given to you and mentally have your own summary, which is all the main points as the author has mentioned it in the order in which he has mentioned it. The correct option will have that. As far as possible, the same order also. The wrong option will generally misrepresent some part, or it will only talk about one part and not talk about the other part. So, an incomplete summary it will give. Or it will give in some extra information which is not there in the passage. Since it's a summary of the passage, it should only talk about what is given in the passage. It cannot talk about something which is not, or it cannot change or misrepresent the original meaning of the passage. Right? So, this is one of the questions which students keep making mistakes in, and I have not figured out why. Alright, so can you read it again and see? If you've done it before, try to see if you can have your own summary as you read it. For the rest, let me time you, okay, starting now. I'll give you a minute for this question. 30 seconds done. Another 30 seconds I'll give you. Okay. Sorry. Why am I doing this? Okay, start. Another 30 seconds. Have your own summary before I show you your options. What do you think is the correct answer? Eliminate each option, telling yourself if A is correct, if it's wrong, why is it wrong? Take at least 2-3 mocks, Sachin, mocks and past year question papers in a timed manner. All right. Correct answer. Quickly give me before we done with one odd one out parajumble we'll do, because I have a class coming up very soon. And I want to just talk to you about the last minute tips before we go. So the correct answer is, what is wrong with 1? It did not lead to a similar approach towards understanding of landscapes. The study of landscape as an individual genre was aided by Renaissance artists, exactly what he said. They were responsible as a subject of art, you don't know. They helped, but did they really help it as a subject of art? Were they responsible for the study? Are they the one that introduced it as a subject? We do not know. And no, so the first answer is B. All right, last, how would you do the odd one out? Is this the odd one out? No, not this. Odd one out. We had done this before. Quickly, when you read through it, identify the theme. The odd one out will be different. In Renaissance, but was a period in 17th century Europe when art, painting, music, sculpture all got, so that it was the cultural rebirth. That period was known as Renaissance, which means rebirth. So it was a cultural rebirth in terms of additional push being given to art and culture and sculpture and all that. 17th century Europe. 11. Much has been said about development of songs. Some species are related to a single song. For all species, there is a prescribed path to development. A bird begins with the song in bird, song in bird, song in bird, song in bird. Here he is talking about auditory stimuli. So that is the odd one out. Odd one out are generally easier than normal questions. Now I'll take the last question before I sign off. What should I do? This is the question I've been asking. What should I do the next few days? Let's talk about that. What should you do is, please take 2 to 3 either timed mocks or past year's papers. Past year papers as in 2017, 18 and 19. If you've done it before, doesn't matter. At least read and see how well the passage has been written. See if you can summarize each paragraph as you read. See the questions and look at the answers. This is, I had marked B. Now why is C the answer? Look at the difference between B and C. That is one thing you should do. So 6 slots are available to you, then you can do it. Scores varying a lot, depends on the type of questions on its varying. Most of the time scores vary a lot because of your lack of concentration. So there are days when you're probably in the perfect mood for the exam, when you do very well. The other days when you're not able to concentrate, you get distracted, you're not able to read it, you're in a hurry to mark the answers, you make a mistake. That is then your scores would come down. If it's a mistake in the fundamentals, you need to worry about, but most of the time I find that they are silly mistakes. So if it's a question of not focusing and getting it wrong, then you work on it. In terms of, okay, I made a mistake here. It's just not enough to take a mock. The mock where you scored well, take that as the sample from which you have to work. What did I do right when I got very good marks here? I concentrated, I did this first, I did that first, I eliminated options carefully. Try to see whether that will apply to the one where you did not do well, and it will help. अभी reading से कोई फायदा नहीं Sachin, you should just work out any 2 papers or 3 papers 2017, 18, 19 where you haven't done. Yes, through preferably 40 minutes, 25 questions, 20 and 25 vary. So let's say you're doing the 2018 paper, there were 34 questions, right? So in that 34 questions, you choose 20 or 25 that you want to attempt before you start the test, and set your timer to 40 minutes and work it out. How to analyze? Find out what's the right answer. Let's say question 1, passage 1, answer was B and you have marked C, which is wrong. Find out, why did I mark C? This is the correct answer. How is it the correct answer? Go and read the paragraph and say, Acha, this is the correct answer because exactly this is what he's saying. C is not the correct answer. Why did I say C? Because of one word which was mentioned in the passage, I chose it. That is wrong. Now, Sachin, the Guardian and Aeon helped you develop your reading skills. Right now, rest, take past. If you enjoy reading it, I won't say don't. 80% out of 80% attempts is the thumb rule. But if you can attempt more and get them right, I would be very happy. Yeah. So these questions, how many should I attempt to get more attempts? Everything depends on the passages. See, 2019 the passages were tough. 2017 the passages were easy. So if you see 2017 the cutoffs were higher. 2019 the cutoffs were lower. ZAT 2019 the cutoff was extremely low. So, ZAT 2020, that is 1920, the one that happened on. So it all depends on the degree of difficulty of the test. I prefer that your accuracy is 85%. Nobody expects you to answer all the questions. So Sachin, concentrate on 2 passages with 85 to 90% accuracy and then go to the third one. That way you do. So spend 50% of the time given to you. Out of that 40 minutes, 20-25, do it slowly with 85% accuracy and then build up your speed. But accuracy is very important, right? I am taking the test and I don't know what time I'll come home. Vijay Jha will be doing the analysis. I'll help him in terms of giving him inputs about what kind of paper, how did I find the paper. That's it. I hope not, I think not. Do we expect a paper of a similar level of difficulty of 2019? As I said, I personally like 2019. You're going to beat me, don't do that. But no, I expect it to be easier because the times are different, right? So, accuracy maintain कर मेरे हिसाब से accuracy maintain करना ज़्यादा important है सचिन. मेरे हिसाब से अगर आप attempts ज़्यादा करें और गलतियां ज़्यादा करें तो प्रॉब्लम है ना. तो 25 to 30 minutes आप एकदम 100% accuracy धीरे कीजिए. उसके बाद टीटा क्वेश्चंस में जो मन में आए मार्क कीजिए. सो यू हैव अ स्ट्रैटेजी ऑफ 30-10, 25 minutes with your speed and accuracy you do. I hope each and every one of you will get to your dreams. I really hope and pray all of you will do well. I hope all my advice will help you. But more than that, guys, you've done everything. You need to have faith in yourself, because I find the day I am prepared to class, I'm a different person. The day I start having doubts, I haven't read, what will I tell, how will I tell the student, automatically I start making mistakes when I read itself. Read those 2 options carefully, cross-check with the passage and figure out which one is correct. Priya, I wish I could tell you, out of 34, 10 were Tita questions, correct? Now out of 25, we think 7 or 6 would be theta questions, but we don't even know, right? Exactly. So Dhruv said a very correct thing, that the 2019 passages were very interesting and easy to read. The questions were difficult. Then Dhruv, you answered your own question, that spend more time in answering the questions and go back to the passage and cross check the answers. इसका आंसर ये है, ये नहीं है, why did I mark B when it should have been C, and then read both and answer it. So you have to spend more time in answering questions. Today I think I have an app class revision, mock revision, and tomorrow we have I have a multi-streaming class again on last minute important complete revision for CAT. That is tomorrow. All right. Yeah, I'm choosing some passages. In that time, remember, it's revision first and then answering. No, no nervousness. Absolutely not. I'm supposed to get that out of your mind. Okay. So remember, you have two options. Okay. When you go for the test, if you are nervous, you'll be like Rohit Sharma when he started in test cricket. Bilkul, he was a miserable failure. Every time he told himself, "Arey yaar, I'm batting in a test match," he went and batted miserably. And somebody told him that you're not doing yourself anything, just treat it like a one day and start hitting and you'll be fine. And after that, he did so well. So Dhanna, what you need to know is that you need to sit and tell yourself that, look, if I am calm, my chances of getting 99 plus percentile are so much better than if I am afraid. Afraid means you can't read. If you are reading, you won't understand what you are reading. So like for example, if somebody puts a timer, I know I will read a slide in 15 or 20 seconds. Now somebody puts a timer of 5 seconds. I start reading and I start saying, "Acha, 5 seconds mein karna hai," and I don't read anything. Nothing will go into my head. So keep that in mind, that you read and do it. So one of your friends, Sachin, says, what should I concentrate on, accuracy or speed? Accuracy, any day accuracy. Even if you get 3 out of 5 passages fully correct, you have a very good chance. You are not expected to answer all the questions, but yes, try to. So have it like 30 minutes, I will do it with my own speed. Uske baad, I shall do it. But tell yourself, I have nothing to lose. Jo bhi hai, I will do it. Then you will do very well. Last 5 minutes RC पढ़ना शुरू मत करो, कुछ भी नहीं होगा. So last 5 minutes, leave it to those theta questions where you are not good and where there is no minus marking. That way you will read it. Understood? And select the easier passages first. All right. And all the best. God bless you. Tomorrow we have the complete revision class, which is also a multi-streaming class. So both YouTube and app you can catch me. Today evening we are doing the mock analysis on the app for those of you who took the VARC third mock. If you've taken it, join my analysis. I'll be doing only 10 questions because I cannot do more than that in the hour. All right. Okay. By the way, do join our Telegram group for any last minute discussions that we have on CAT. All right. Nervousness, bilkul. You should not be nervous at all. Okay. Just tell yourself nothing, no problem. Whatever happens, I'm okay. All right. That's the key you should remember. All right. Okay. I will see you all very soon then. Okay. How much passage? I don't know, Abhinav. I really don't know. 25 questions means 4 passages plus the rest. Minimum to 4 passages you will get. Right? Minimum 4. I don't think they can cut down less than 4. But then we are all guessing. All of us are guessing. If it's 25 questions, 4 passages. If it's 20 questions, definitely 3 passages. We are all guessing. Only the CAT question setter knows. But I am assuming not more than 20 to 25 questions per section. Alright. Join our Gradeup group. Join our Telegram group. And stay tuned. Be in touch. Keep in touch. Alright. And join our analysis after CAT. But I think I'll see you before that, right? Okay. Bye guys. Take care. I hope it will be 3, Sachin, but I'm not sure. 20 questions, then it will be 3. 25 means more. I think the link would be given to you. Just go to Gradeup Telegram group. There's a link given. Just go to our app and see, or call the number on your screen, 96 500 52904. I thought I had the link on my screen, but I apparently didn't put it. All right. God bless you, everybody. All your dreams come true. Fingers crossed. I'll see you soon. All right. Bye-bye.